Hey there, race fans. It's race day, top 5 with me, Frank 5. Darlington Raceway, the Lady in Black. The track, too tough to tame. Throw out as many nicknames as you want. It's still one of the most historic racetracks that we go to every single year. And now, back to it twice, started last year. Darlington Raceway provides a lot of excitement on an old abrasive racetrack with slipping and sliding, Darlington stripes, comers and goers, a lot of differing strategies between tire management and using your tires, and a crazy finish to end Throwback Weekend on Mother's Day. Let's talk about all that went down yesterday at Darlington. Number 1, Joey Logano picks up his first Cup win of the season, winning yesterday's Goodyear 400 at Darlington Raceway in a thrilling battle at the end, bumping William Byron, or well, we'll get to that in a second, knocking him out of the way on the lap coming to the white flag, and he was able to hold off and win the race over Tyler Reddick, Justin Haley, Kevin Harvick, and Chase Elliott. Joey Logano had a great weekend at Darlington with his nice throwback scheme, dedicating it to, I think, a Bobby Allison scheme. It was an old Pennzoil scheme that he ran, and he started the weekend off by winning the pole on Saturday. He led the field of the green flags yesterday, and he had a really good race car. Then he fell back into the lower stages of the top 10, but quickly, methodically worked his way back up there. And he was in quite a lot of interesting battles out there on restarts between guys like Martin Truex Jr., Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, and William Byron. And late in the race, he was kind of running down the 24 car of William Byron, trying to catch him, and it looked like he was going to fall up short. But with 5 laps to go, the 24 of William Byron began to start falling back into the clutches of the 22 car. And on the lap coming to the white flag, entering turn 3, because I could see Byron's car getting a little bit loose, Joey Logano came up to his back bumper and bumped him, or some people are going to say, dumped him out of the way and knocked him into the outside wall in turns 3 and 4. And Logano took the lead and took the white flag and hold off to get his first win of the season. Now, this is an interesting topic because Joey Logano has been known to be aggressive, but there are some people out there that claim him to be a little too aggressive or drive dirty. Like, we saw what he did to Martin Truex Jr. in the 2018 Martinsville race in the fall, where spot in the championship 4 was on the line. They both made it, but Logano ended up winning the championship. Joey knocked Martin out of the way in turns 3 and 4 and raced him to the start-finish line. Logano ended up winning. Truex was not very happy about it, and he said he won the battle, but he ain't win the damn war. Well, he actually did end up winning the damn war. And he's had tussles with a lot of drivers. Kyle Busch in 2017 in Las Vegas on the last lap where they tangled, and Kyle responded by climbing out of his car afterwards and throwing some punches at Joey, and then he got tackled to the ground by Joey's crew members, and Kyle was left with a bloody forehead. Joey Logano has been named a lot of things, and people, like to, get at him, but, I understand why he did the move, because William Byron already had 2 wins and Joey Logano had yet to win. Now, Joey did win a race this year, but it was the Busch Light Clash at the LA Coliseum, a non-points race, an exhibition race. And he celebrated that win and would end up going to have the birth of his second child with his wife a couple of days later. But Joey Logano did what he needed to do, and he said that's what you get for payback. What he's talking about is on one of the late race restarts in stage 3, Byron kind of forced Logano up towards the outside wall off of turn 2, and Byron was able to take that moment and take the lead from the 22 car. So Joey was upset about that. It wasn't anything to do from a previous race or anything from last year. It was because of that restart off of turn number 2. I'd say it was in the middle of, or I think it was towards the beginning of the final stage, or it was in stage 2, somewhere around there. But it was on a restart where Byron forced Logano up towards the wall in turn 2. Joey didn't hit the wall, but he lost the lead in the process, and that led Joey to retaliate on the lap coming to the white flag and put Byron into the wall. I mean, he kind of, he bumped him, but I don't think he really meant to knock him into the wall. I don't think Joey meant to do that, but some people will think he did. But Joey did what he needed to do, and he's victorious, and he's locked into the playoffs, and now he's got to win. I mean, this dude hadn't won a points-paying race since last year at the Bristol Dirt Race. Think about that. But a big win for the 22 team and Joey Logano. They are now playoff bound. Number 2, William Byron. So close, but no cigar. That dude drove his heart out the last couple laps of yesterday's race after a very, very lovely story on the pre-race show about him and his mom and how his mom developed a tumor at last year's spring race in Martinsville. They went to the hospital. He came by afterwards, and he questioned maybe his racing future, but his mom told him to keep going, and he did just that, and she's 1 year cancer-free, and he won a couple weeks ago at Martinsville that same weekend that she had developed the tumor, and he dedicated the win to her. A very special moment, and of course, very special bond between a mother and a son, because of course it was Mother's Day weekend, and that was a very special segment of the pre-race show. It almost brought a tear to my eye. And of course, a big weekend for William Byron with the nice throwback scheme honoring Jeff Gordon's 2007 Darlington win, the one where he had the red and blue scheme, and the race he won after having a radiator problem. The final 50 laps of the race, it was running really hot, and it was like a geyser, and he still ended up winning the race and busted it when he got to victory lane after donuts. It was a nice paint scheme that William Byron ran, and also a big week for him as he signed a 3-year extension deal to stay with Hendrick Motorsports till the end of 2025. So it was a big week for William Byron, and he almost had the win in his grasp yesterday. But I noticed those last couple laps, as I mentioned, he was getting a little bit loose and losing time, and Joey was able to gain that time back and got to him, and obviously knocked him into the wall. Byron hit the wall pretty hard, but I felt like he was going to limp it home for a top 5. However, that severe contact with the wall forced him to hit it again in turns 1 and 2 in the final lap, and he had to settle for a 13th place finish. Ouch. And he was not happy with the way Joey Logano raced him. He called him a moron. He said it was idiotic. That's why he doesn't drive anybody clean. It was the heat of the moment for William Byron. I get why he's frustrated. He was so close to winning. I mean, do I take a side on this? No. It was hard racing. Some people are going to call it dirty. Some people are going to say it was justified. Was the move justified? Leave a comment down below. I want to know, do you guys think that move was justified by Joey Logano knocking Byron into the wall after retaliation from a restart early on? I mean, I get why Byron's upset, and obviously Jeff Gordon, who was down on pit lane afterwards consoling him after what happened, things happen. Things happen, and Byron obviously has the right to be upset. He didn't win the race. He almost got that 24 paint scheme back to victory lane for the first time in 15 years since that race that Jeff won with a busted radiator. But the thing is, guys get aggressive at the very end, and Joey Logano is going to be the guy that gets aggressive, so never doubt that. But I understand why Byron's frustrated, but it happened, and I just thought like it was good entertainment for the race fans. The finish made it entertaining. Some people love it, some people don't like it, but that's why we have differing opinions. And my opinion was it was a fun, entertaining finish for the fans and for the drivers, even if you don't like about what happened at the very end. But I thought it was entertaining for the most part. But Byron, he said he'll probably, he said Joey will get his payback eventually, so keep an eye on the next short track race, whenever that is. Number 3, dominance by some of our superstars, but not there when it matters most. Let's start off with Kyle Busch. This dude had a really good race car yesterday and in a nice 1998 M&M's throwback scheme to Ernie Irvan. And of course, this is M&M's last throwback event because they're leaving Kyle Busch at the end of the season. Kyle had a really good race car yesterday, and it looked like he was going to be up front battling for the win at the very end. And of course, he's got other things he's dealing with right now. His contract, a new sponsor, and of course he and his wife Samantha are expecting their second child through a surrogate, and I want to say congrats to them. It might happen right now, it might happen later this week, it might happen next week. He might not be there at the track next week because he wants to be there for the birth, so I understand why he wants to decide to do that. Well, yesterday he was running in the top 5, but Brad Keselowski hit the wall for turn 2 and ricocheted into Kyle Busch and took Kyle out of the race because the left front was completely knocked out of tow. So Kyle Busch went to the garage, but without the car. He parked the car literally at the entrance to the garage on pit road and hopped out of the car and just walked inside. And he said, in his interview after coming from the Infomedical Center, why he couldn't turn it into the garage, he said it weren't turned far enough. We all know the real reason why. Because last fall, in the first race of the playoffs, Kyle Busch wrecked out early in the race. And when driving back to the garage, he ran at a pretty fast speed for turning into the garage and ran over some cones, and there were some spectators around him. And for that, NASCAR handed him a big $50,000 fine. So Kyle Busch did not want to repeat that. So he said, an excuse. We all know the main reason why he did that. But it was unfortunate because he had a car capable of winning yesterday. Ross Chastain for Trackhouse Racing, a team that's been very hot and fun to watch this season, had a lovely throwback scheme to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s 1998 Japan car that he raced against his father in an exhibition race after the season concluded in 1998. Daniel Suarez ran Dale Earnhardt's throwback scheme, but Ross Chastain had a great car yesterday, won stage 2, and it looked to be contention. Then half a lap into the final stage, battling for the lead with Denny Hamlin, he gets loose off of turn 2 and hits the inside wall, taking him out. Ouch. That sucks because I'll be honest with you, that was my favorite throwback scheme of the weekend. And coming from a dude that has been a Jeff Gordon fan, that paint scheme was very special, but I like this Ross Chastain paint scheme that he ran for Dale Earnhardt Jr. That was a really cool scheme, and the Dale Earnhardt throwback that Suarez ran also was very fun, but it was unfortunate because Chastain had the speed in his car. He ran top 5 the entire race, and he had the speed to win that thing. And then Martin Truex Jr. and Denny Hamlin, 2 strong contenders on tracks that they've won at before. Truex, the defending winner of the Goodyear 400, and Denny Hamlin, a man who's won 4 times here and wanting to get some luck because, remember, he only has 1 top 10 this year, and that's his lone win of the season at Richmond. Well, yesterday, both of them looked to be in contention for the win. But in the last pit stop of the race, with about 35 laps to go, Denny Hamlin's team, the button on the pit gun apparently malfunctioned, and it took him from the top 5 all the way back to the top 15. And on that restart, Martin Truex Jr., a few lanes in front of him, got shuffled 3 wide and got squeezed between Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Kevin Harvick and went into the outside wall and ricocheted into traffic, collecting Kurt Busch, Bubba Wallace. 2 guys had strong cars and bouncing back from problems. Cole Custer, Chase Briscoe, Brian Blaney, and Denny Hamlin. So talk about bad luck. That's really unfortunate. I mean, we had 5 Toyotas, 5 of the top Toyota teams finished outside of yesterday's race. The lone Toyota in the top 10 was Christopher Bell in 6th place. But very unfortunate because Truex and Hamlin, they had speed in their cars. Same for Kyle Busch and same for Ross Chastain. However, sometimes the lady in black has the last word. And unfortunately, she took them out of contention for winning yesterday. But they had the speed in their car. They'll have to try to bounce back again the next time they come back here in September on Labor Day weekend. Number 4, champions of the sport go from a terrible Saturday to a very solid Sunday. And I'm talking about Kevin Harvick and Chase Elliott, the 4th and 5th place finishers of yesterday's race. Chase Elliott, off the win of last weekend at Dover International Speedway, came to this weekend running a nice Jimmy Means throwback scheme, but only a few minutes into the practice group that he was a part of, Chase Elliott cuts a left rear tire and spins in turns 3 and 4 and hits the outside wall, damaging his car, forcing him to go to a backup car. And Kevin Harvick had tire problems with his car in practice, and that prevented both of them from qualifying the cars. They had to start at the rear. It took them a lot during the race, but they quietly, methodically worked their way up towards the top 5, top 10, and seemed to have speed at the very end of the final stage where they felt like maybe if things went their way, if they had the track position, they could be battling for the win and they could possibly, get their second win of the season in the case of Elliott, or first win of the season and first win since 2020 for Kevin Harvick. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but nonetheless, a great job by both of these guys to go from a terrible Saturday to get really good, solid results yesterday. Round of applause to both of those teams and all the work they had to put through to get them to the result that they needed yesterday. It was a good job by both those teams. And number 5, Darlington, the race itself, the Throwback Weekend, it was just unbelievable. I mean, Throwback Weekend, whether it was the Labor Day weekend the past couple years or whether it's been now Mother's Day weekend last year and now this year, it was just amazing. I mean, the atmosphere, the crowd was really into it yesterday. There was a good crowd yesterday's race. The racing was very fun. Obviously, they're shifting now with these sequential shifters with this next-gen car. But, the one thing I noticed about these cars, if you hit the outside wall with the Darlington stripe, the car could sometimes take a beating and still keep going. But if you hit it really hard, like Brad Keselowski did, or Corey LaJoie did, or Daniel Hemrick did, you're pretty much done for the day. But the racing yesterday, the side-by-side action, the tire management between saving them for a later stint in these stages or burning them up because you want the track position and thinking if you're good at tire management, you can save it and keep your track position. It was a lot of fun. It was just so much fun. And the throwback schemes were really fun, as mentioned. The 24 scheme, the 18 scheme, the number 1 scheme, those were my favorite paint schemes of the Throwback Weekend. Those things were amazing. And the broadcast, it was unbelievable. I mean, you brought in NASCAR Hall of Fame legends for Fox. Round of applause. Mike Joy and Clint Boyer had Richard Petty, Bobby Labonte, and Bill Elliott join them for all 3 of the stages yesterday for the race. We had Richard Petty, the King, who waved the green flag to start the race. He joined us a couple minutes and a couple laps after we got the race in, and it was fun to hear the King talk about, the good old days of NASCAR. He contributed a little bit, obviously. He's runs his own team, and he's getting up there in age. He's like 84 years old, but still, Richard Petty is just always fun to listen to, and it was fun to hear the King's perspective on the sport from where it was then to where it is now. He's a great icon, and we will always, be grateful to have an icon like him still here to this day and what he did for our sport. Bobby Labonte, a dude that's been in NASCAR for a long time and actually has been with the Fox team since 2018, I believe it was. But he's been with the team for quite a while. And of course, he won the Southern 500 back in 2000. Granted, it was rain shortened, but he brought great insight to the race yesterday for, again, a dude that's been with Fox for a while and a guy that knows Darlington Raceway. And because it's pretty similar to Atlanta, where Bobby Labonte is the king. He is the king at Atlanta, and this track's pretty similar to it. It's different size, like 1.3 mile egg-shaped track, but still, it's very similar because of the abrasiveness that both tracks had and, of course, tire management. So it's great to hear Bobby yesterday. And then Bill Elliott, who gave the command to start engines, jumping in the final stage, he brought really good insight because, again, he's around his son Chase with these next-gen cars and everything, but he brought great insight for one of the most popular figures of the sport, man who won the most popular driver award for many, many years. I mean, people think, oh, everyone loved Dale Earnhardt, but people forget, Dale Earnhardt, I don't think, ever won most popular driver award. It's been Bill Elliott ever since he and Earnhardt were kind of together in the sport around that time. Bill just brought great insight, and of course, a man that's been known for success at Darlington, of course, $1 Million Bill, awesome Bill from Dawsonville, whatever you want to call it, $1 Million Bill, and year I think was 1985, where he won 3 out of the 4 big races, and R.J. Reynolds said, we will hand you $1 million if you win 3 out of those 4 races, which he did, and that's why he earned the nickname $1 Million Bill. And it was great to hear him yesterday. Great insight by him and Bobby Labonte and the King in yesterday's race. It was good to have NASCAR Hall of Fame icons in the booth yesterday. So round of applause to Fox. And, of course, Throwback Weekend, the race, the broadcast, all of it together. It was just awesome, and I loved it. And it was also special to have it on Mother's Day weekend. And, of course, I know this is a day late, but I hope every mother out there had a lovely Mother's Day, including my mom. I love you so much, Mom. You're the best, and thank you for making me the lovely, charming dude you have watched grow up these past 23 years, and I can't thank you enough. I love you so, so much. And great weekend all around for NASCAR and for all the mothers. So next weekend, we are off to the windy city of Kansas, Kansas Speedway, a track where it's going to be windy, maybe, and there's going to be a lot of different grooves with this next-gen car. Very interested to see some of the mile-and-a-half races we've had this year, like Las Vegas. This track's pretty similar to it. We're really fun with this next-gen car. I can't wait to see this thing at Kansas. And we're going to have Joplin, Missouri, and Fox's own Jamie McMurray join us. We're going to have 2 Midwestern boys, Jamie and Clint Boyer, go at it in the booth. Joplin, Missouri versus Emporia, Kansas. Now, that's going to be something, but looking forward to see what happens next weekend. So the big question is next weekend, will Joey Logano and William Byron butt heads again? Will Kyle Busch be there at the track next weekend, or will he be watching Circuit give birth to his second child? Or will Denny Hamlin be able to turn around and get his second win of the season and get some nice runs going to get some momentum? We're going to find out, but all in all, good Throwback Weekend. I had a blast watching it, and I can't wait to see how next week's going to turn out. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, happy Mother's Day to all the mothers, and congratulations to Joey Logano and the 22 team. Thank you all so much for watching. Let's go racing!